Now what I want to do is move on and talk about the takeover module in a little more detail. So we did talk about this earlier, and we simply said that this particular device can be used to convert up to 8 hardwired zones into 8 wireless zones. And I did mention you can use multiple takeover modules on one 2 gig system. So if you were doing a takeover of a home that had a wired system in there and they had 24 wired zones, you could simply install 3 wireless takeover modules in that would allow you to take over all 24 wireless zones. Again, I just want to remind you that this is only for dry, normally closed contacts, and it's not for life safety devices. No CO detectors, no smoke detectors. So this particular device needs to be powered up. And there's 2 ways that you can power it up. One way is you can leave the existing alarm panel in the home and power this up from that. Or number 2, you could buy the takeover module kit, which comes with its own power supply, and use that. I'm going to talk about both processes here. So first of all, let's talk about installing a takeover module, but powering it up from the existing alarm panel that is in the home. So right here in the center of the screen, this is an example of an existing alarm panel. It has a transformer that is powering up the board, and it has a backup battery. And of course, it has all of the sensors wired into it. So what is the proper process for installing and powering up and wiring up the takeover module? Well, first of all, you want to install the takeover module in very close proximity to this existing board. And then we're going to follow 4 particular steps. Step number 1, you'll disconnect all power to the existing hardwired system. So we disconnected the transformers wires, we disconnected the backup battery. Step number 2 is going to be to completely wire the takeover module. So we took the high lead from every sensor, we moved it over to the takeover module to the appropriate zone number. We ran a ground jumper from the takeover module to the existing board, and we ran a 12-volt jumper from the takeover module to the existing board. So we made all of our connections over here. Now we want to go to step number 3. You're going to connect the backup battery to the takeover module and the existing board. And then finally, the last step, step number 4, you're going to reconnect the existing system's power supply. Now, it's very important that you follow this particular order, because if you were to reverse the order of the power sources, and by that I mean if you were to reconnect the existing system's power supply before you connected the backup battery, all of the zones connected to the takeover module will show a low battery. And you don't want that to happen. That would probably require that you go back out to the job site. So always remember, you must connect the backup battery before the existing power supply. What would you do if you made a mistake? If you did connect the existing power supply before the backup battery and you got all those low battery conditions? You simply go back to the job site, disconnect the battery and the existing power source, wait 5 minutes, and then connect it in the correct order, which would be the battery first, and then the existing AC power supply. So this is how you would take and configure the system if you're going to use the existing panel as a power source for the takeover module. Now, what if you wanted to actually remove the existing alarm system? Now you have to take and purchase what we call the takeover module kit. That is a plastic enclosure. It comes with a takeover module, plus it comes with a power supply. It also comes with enough room in this enclosure to install 3 takeover modules. This here will allow you to actually remove the existing alarm panel. So let's walk through the proper sequence of events to take and configure and set up the takeover module kit. So first of all, disconnect everything from the existing panel. Then you can take and dispose of that panel, and now you're going to mount the takeover module kit in its place. And now you're going to wire the takeover module kit. So you're going to bring up all of your sensors to the actual takeover module itself, connect all of your grounds to the ground terminal, and run any jumpers that need to be connected between the takeover module and the transformer board. Then step number 3, connect the backup battery to both the takeover module and the transformer board. And then finally, step number 4, reconnect the power supply. So again, always the battery before the power supply. Otherwise, you would run into a low battery condition for each zone, and that would require that you go back out, disconnect the battery and the power, wait 5 minutes, and then reconnect them in the correct order. So that completes setting up the takeover module.